Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Guy Aitchison's Reinventing the Tattoo Community, where tattooers, apprentices, collectors, and the curious are encouraged to join in these live streams, real-world events, share and inspire, and ultimately create better art and tattoos. Together, we beam out nearly every day, and with your help, have evolved into a quality network of amazing live and on-demand tattoo and art shows that have all been receiving rave reviews. You're currently watching the Sunday afternoon drawing group with me, Jason Leeser, which takes place every Sunday afternoon at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Please, by all means, let me know if I'm coming through loud and clear. Make sure that you can hear me. If you can't, send me a quick little note and I'll be happy to make some adjustments. Artists, please feel free to zoom in. There's a zoom button located in the event posted in the Reinventing the Tattoo community. You might be beaming in from YouTube or Facebook, or maybe you're listening to our podcast, but you can always get the latest event schedule and notifications at the official Reinventing the Tattoo community, found at both app stores, the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store, or directly at community.reinventingthetattoo.com. Just a little side note, the community is free to join. You do not have to pay anything. And we are encouraging plenty of new artists, new collectors, new apprentices. Come and join us. It's a very positive, empowering place for artists to gather so that we can all get feedback from each other and we can all grow as an industry. If this is working for you, please let us know in the comments and the chats, and please tag a friend who loves tattoos. All Reinventing the Tattoo Network shows, art jams, drawing groups, interviews, panels, webinars, all of it can be enjoyed on demand and found in the library, as well as the YouTube and the podcast channels. There are countless tattoo and art rabbit holes for you to dive into. It's perfect for the front room of your tattoo studio or to entertain your tattoo clients as they're getting worked on. We're also beaming out 4 different Reinventing the Tattoo channels, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And you can find that at reinventing247.com. We have a number of weekly staple shows that we always encourage artists to tune into. This being the first one of the week on Sundays at 1 p.m. with me, Jason Leeser, where we'll be diving into Procreate and different types of tattoo hacks and some convention advice, some live convention coverage every now and then. But it's always a great place to come and talk about what you're working on, to do a little bit of promotion, to really come and hang out and talk about, what we love to do, which is tattooing. Sundays at 9 p.m., we have the Tattoo Weekly Show hosted by Jake Meeks of the Fireside Tattoo Network, Gabe Ripley, and Lauren Gregory. Mondays at 9 a.m., we have the Early Bird Drawing Group with Kier, where she'll go through and talk about tattoos and tattoo life and different convention coverage. It's a great place to go to really discuss art and tattoos and everything else of the nature. Mondays at 9 p.m., we have a subscriber exclusive drawing group with Guy Aitchison himself. And that is only for people that have a subscription to the Reinventing the Tattoo Canon. There's always a core group of us that get together every Monday night. Obviously, we all have subscriptions and we all get together and we all draw along with Guy to try to work on certain aspects of what we're creating so that we can all become better artists. Tuesdays at 10 a.m., we have another live drawing group with Ricardo Sertivant. Very good friend of mine, extremely talented artist, and one hell of a tattooer. Highly recommend you jump in and join him for that. He's always covering amazing philosophical discussions, as well as a lot of different fine art techniques, tips, and tricks. Wednesdays at 12 noon, we have the Tattoo Now show with Gabe Ripley. Thursdays at 10 a.m., we have a subscriber exclusive drawing group with Kier for fundamentals. All artists of all skill levels are always encouraged to attend these fundamental drawing groups on Thursday mornings. We all know from being an artist, as long as we have been, that every now and then we need to brush up on our fundamentals and get back to the basics. And that is exactly what the Thursday morning sessions are about. Thursdays at 12 noon, we have the Tattoo Collecting Podcast with Fawn Baker. It's absolutely awesome. Different artists and collectors from around the world can beam in and, share some of the stories about, how they've gotten tattooed and who they've been tattooed by and some of their adventures along the way. We have one very special upcoming event coming up Sunday, November 7th at 6 p.m. Eastern. We have a live interview with Chris Dunn of Deadly Tattoos. I've been talking with Chris back and forth since pre-pandemic, and he's agreed to sit down and do a Zoom interview with us. It's going to be an absolute blast. We get along great, and we have some really great discussions. We have some upcoming real world events that we always encourage people to join us at. November 12th through 14th, we have the Brussels Tattoo Convention with Nick Baxter, Ivana, and Gabe, who will all be doing seminars. We'll also be doing some live art jams that you can beam into and some subscriber exclusive meetups. So if you're in the country of Belgium, or if you're in the European area, please come down, hang out. It's going to be an absolute blast. February 5th through 6th, Reinventing the Tattoo will be live from the Red Tree Gallery in True Tube's headquarters in Columbus, Ohio. We'll be having live art jams, some seminars, and there's going to be a bit more information on the way, so please stay tuned. April 11th through 14th, we have the New Hampshire Inspiring Tours with Sean Barber and Nick Baxter, who will be doing a very small group collaborative painting seminar and art jam up in New Hampshire. May 20th through the 22nd, we have the Hell City Columbus Tattoo Convention. Always one of the premier tattoo conventions in the country. Don't want to miss out on that. July 8th through 10th, 2022, we have the Rock River Tattoo Art Expo with a whole bunch of Reinventing the Tattoo track artists, as well as an amazing venue this year, and it's super easy to get to from anywhere in the world. July 29th through 31st, 2022, we have the Rubber City Tattoo Invitational in Akron, Ohio, with Tony Urbanek. If any of you know Tony and his machines, they are absolute dynamite. You cannot go wrong with any of his machines. I would like to take a few minutes to go through and thank some of our sponsors. Inkjet Stencils. You can print stencils straight from your mobile phone, your computer, or your tablet. You can save a ton of time. You can save your hands. You can save your apprentices' hands. They offer tons of webinars and free samples. I've personally used these before, and they are absolutely incredible. They can help you put a photograph right on the skin. It's absolutely incredible if you're really trying to step your stencil game up. Next, we have Interstate Inc. LA. You may know Church from his awesome custom sneakers. His studio is seeking residents and guests, all clean and sober. If you are an artist in recovery looking for a supporting studio, or you know someone that needs one, reach out to them on Instagram at Interstate Inc. LA. Next, we have Raw Pigments, an ink company that's tapping into the source. You can find them at rawpigments.co. I've started to incorporate a lot of them into my own personal color lineup, and they are amazing. Super vibrant, light fast, vegan friendly, acrylic free. I mean, these are super, super nice pigments. Let's see, World Tattoo Events. World Tattoo Events, the largest, most comprehensive resource for tattoo events in the world. They're constantly keeping everything's up to date as different conventions are getting rescheduled, new ones are being added, and dates are getting shifted around. By all means, if you want to stay up to date on the latest convention news and convention coverage, for shows around the world, check out worldtattooevents.com. Dermalyze Pro, also known as Dermalyze Pro in the rest of the world. Protect your art. If you're still using saran wrap to wrap your tattoos, please do yourself a favor, go and watch some videos of some tattooers on YouTube and see what it's about. It's absolutely amazing technology to help you and your clients get the best product out of the work that you're doing. tattoonow.com. Technology for tattooers, the leading edge in SEO and professional development for tattooers of all levels, and they're now accepting new clients. If you're interested and you really want to get your name out there, you really want to start doing some more heavy promotional stuff, you really want to create a bigger footprint in the global tattoo world as we know it, reach out to Tattoo Now. You cannot go wrong with them. They are experts in the field. And of course, I want to give a very special thank you and a very big shout out to the founder and inspiration of Reinventing the Tattoo, GuyAitchison.com. Guy Aitchison has been a leader in tattoo education for the past 20 years. You guys might have heard of his book. Go and check out GuyAitchison.com or tattooeducation.com. He has got tons of stuff for sale, from his Biomech encyclopedia to different DVDs and how-tos. He's got some custom tattoo machines he's selling. A couple of original paintings are for sale, some prints. You have to go and check it out. I mean, these are unbelievable paintings and they're all being sold. And special thank you specifically to Guy. Thank you so much for creating all of this. Without you, none of this would be possible. Would also like to give a very special shout out to the Fireside Tattoo Network and the Apprenticeship Diaries. If you are an apprentice or if you are a tattoo artist that is really trying to step your game up, you need to go and check out these two networks. I'm pretty sure they both have YouTube channels. I know Fireside does, and I'm pretty sure the Apprenticeship Diaries has a podcast as well. Go take a look. There is absolute gold there. If you are not listening to Fireside or the Apprenticeship Diaries, you're really missing out, to be honest with you. It's there's a wealth of information there just waiting for you to listen to it. So that kind of concludes our intro. I'm going to switch my camera back over here and get one or two other things set up. Artists, by all means, if you're interested in jumping in today and jumping into some of the conversation so that I'm not just sitting here talking to myself, please, by all means, jump in. I think I've got the waiting room turned on for the Zoom, but I'm going to disable that now. And once again, you can find the Zoom link to join the Zoom at reinventingthetattoo.com and the community. It's pretty easy to find. Just go to the events area and you should see a link to zoom in right there. Let's take a look and see if anyone has joined us in Facebook. We got a couple people. Hello from Brazil. Hello, hello, hello. Awesome. Great. Looks like everything is going pretty well. Looks like my audio is coming through. Cool. Let's see. I think we might have just had a translation. Nope. Cool. Awesome. So I don't know about you guys, but I got a few projects I'm going to be working on today. I'm going to switch my camera over in just a second, but I wanted to plug into my iPad. So I'm going to be working on a Daruma today. I hope this is working right. Let's see. There we go. So there are a number of different ways in Procreate that you can always add a reference. And let's do this real quick. Let me just finish getting we'll do a live picture in picture. Forgot to get this set up earlier. Sorry about that. So we'll do that. And let's switch the input. That can be over at camera 2. There we go. This way you guys can kind of see what I'm doing as I'm doing it. Cool. Awesome. So as a lot of you probably know, that there are a number of different little secrets in Procreate on how to be more efficient with things. If you, well, let me see if I can drag this over. So I don't know how many of you know this, but if this is my reference image over here in the upper right, this I can zoom, pinch, and it's on its own little area that I can move around the screen. It's not a layer here in the upper right corner. It's actually its own separate little panel. And the way that you would go through and add that is by coming up to the wrench in the upper corner. And I think the picture in picture is actually, let's see if I can move that over there for now. You know what? We'll bring it down to the bottom right. There we go. There we go. And we will bring it up a tiny bit. There we go. So this way you guys can still see what I'm doing. But you would come up to canvas and then you'll see reference over here, right? If I turn that off, my reference goes away. If I turn that back on, it pops right back up. Did I just lose my video again? Let's see, there we go. Procreate just does not want to play nice today. Let's try this again. Yay, there we go. Cool. And let's bring this, we'll shrink this down. I'll bring that down here in the lower left. I don't know if you guys can see this or not, but I do have a little reference image down here in the lower left. I don't know why it's not being displayed properly in Procreate, but working with what I got here, guys. I don't know if it's Procreate itself. I can try to restart that. Looks like everything else is running all right. As you can tell, I like to draw digitally. I find it's just, it lends itself more to what I'm used to. And I do enjoy drawing analog. It's not that I don't enjoy that. It's just that I've just gotten so used to drawing digitally that, you know, it's just, it's what I've started to learn how to do. I've started to adapt everything that I'm doing by drawing digitally. It's fun. It's convenient. I can do it on the plane. I can do it almost anywhere. Once again, I don't know how well any of this is showing up because Procreate just does not like to behave when you're beaming it out. But I am trying to go through. I'm going to go through. I'm just working on this Daruma. I think I might change the angle of the head a little bit. Maybe bring this way a bit more. Cool. Always like a clean drawing surface. But yeah, there's something to be said for understanding the proportions of the human face and human anatomy. It's something that I always struggle with. So it's something I'm constantly working on all the time. You know, even back when I was in art school, like drawing the human head and face was always a struggle. I could sit down, I could draw, you know, buildings, super easy, landscapes, fine, that's easy. But drawing the human head and face was always a struggle. And it's those things that we struggle to draw the most and the things that we struggle with the most. If those are the things that we work on the most, you will actually see a direct correlation between what we struggle with the most and how much we improve on that and how much we improve on everything else that we draw that we actually enjoy drawing. You know, it's a slippery slope and it's kind of crazy, but there is a direct correlation between the two. You know, for example, me and faces, for years, I avoided doing portraits. I avoided doing anything with a face because I knew it wasn't one of my strong suits. I'm still hesitant about doing them, but I've been drawing them so much recently that it's absolutely incredible how much just working on something that you know you're not very good at can really start to affect all the things that you know you're pretty good at. Just going through using a little bit of the Lumas method. I like to call this a little bit of a modified Lumas method because it's not going to be proportionate. You know, I'm drawing this this Daruma with very, very condensed short features, very short and pudgy. Because I want them to have a very very squat kind of troll look, if that makes any sense. Cool. And then this is going to be beard. And then mustache. So this is going to give me the proportions I'm looking for. Maybe we'll give him a little bit more of a dome head. But I had one of my coworkers actually come to me not too long ago and ask me for a Daruma on the top of their hand. Some of you may know the significance of Daruma. Some of you may not. Daruma all stemmed from Bodhidharma, who was I believe, a Buddhist monk, I'm pretty sure. But legend had it, he would sit in meditation to contemplate enlightenment, and he sat at the side of a mountain path for a number of years. Some birds came down and pecked out his eyes, and he was sitting there for so long that his arms and legs atrophied and fell off. So that's why whenever you see Daruma, it's always depicted as a doll or a person that is wrapped in a robe, because Daruma did not have arms and legs. He only had one eye. You know, but there's a lot of different cultural significance that comes into a lot of different things when you start to draw things from other cultures. It's always helpful to have a very good understanding of, you know, just what the significance is for those other cultures. You know, if you don't understand significance for other cultures, then you might be getting yourself in trouble somewhere along the way. You know, perfect example is, culturally speaking, in the United States, especially on the East Coast, New York, parts of New Jersey, a couple other places throughout the country. To get a skull with a single wing coming off the back is a big, big no-no. The reason why is because that has different types of associations with different types of motorcycle clubs, and that is a badge of honor for them. And so you do not get it unless you have earned it. And they are adamant about that. So it's always good to understand cultural significance when it comes down to, working with different types of symbolic imagery, if that makes any sense at all. I don't know. I'm used to usually having at least one other person here, so it's kind of difficult when you talk to yourself. But, even if I don't get this right, and even if it doesn't turn out as well as I originally thought. Oh, my cat decided to come and join me. Hey, Faith, how's it going? Hi, Faith.
Hey, I can't hear you
You can't hear me?
for some reason, but I'm trying to switch to my iPad.
Go
wait, go. No, there we go. I think I can hear you
now. I was going to say, yeah. I hope you can hear me because I've been talking for like almost a half hour now. And
I was on YouTube.
I would hate to be on mute for the past half hour.
No, on YouTube, it was working. You just want to turn this thing on. There we go. God, that took forever. I was trying to hook up a lapel mic to my iPad, but then it shut off the sound.
Yeah.
I was trying to go all professional. I went to Villain Arts in Tampa last minute.
How was the Tampa show?
It was good. I haven't been to a convention since like 2015.
Oh, wow.
I haven't been in forever. And so I found out Raw was going to be there. So I went and I sort of released my book, I guess.
That's cool.
Copies printed. And yeah, it was crazy. It was just like, I found out like the day before, and then I had to run and get shit printed and drive up there and all that kind of stuff. So I'm kind of like just now. I don't know. What's going on today?
Not too much. I'm just working on something for one of my coworkers. I should probably be working on this week's homework for guys class, but
I'm going through the Fireside modules, but I've been slacking a little bit.
Yeah, I think that's going to be so I'm always on a quest for new knowledge, and I think that's going to be one of my next endeavors is to join the Fireside Find Your Style seminars, and go through and try to give that a gander, give that a go, and just see how that goes for me.
Yeah, I want to get into the what's it called, the Canon.
Yeah, the Reinventing the Tattoo Canon.
Yeah. It sounds so ominous, though. It sounds like it'll take the rest of my life.
You know what? It may sound that way, but it's not. It explains everything in such plain language. It's unbelievable. Like when I read it the first time, you're reading it and you're like, oh, wow, there's a lot here. All right. It's kind of intimidating. There's a lot of information. It's just like anything else. If you sit down and you just get started, it goes real fast. I always sit down with a highlighter every time I go back over one of the copies of my physical book. And I'll highlight new things every time. Because there's inevitably something in there that maybe I've forgotten about, or maybe, I just didn't really pay too much attention to in the beginning. So like for me to be able to revisit it is absolutely amazing. And they've added all kinds of new stuff into it. So it's really, really, really worth it. Just in my own, personal opinion. I think it should be like required reading for
I
like
mean,
most.
me, the thing that I feel based on talking to you and talking to everyone about what I need to understand is the thing that I need is forms. Are there forms in there? I guess is what I'm saying. Like circle or spheres and cylinders. Like that's about where I need to be right now, I think.
Yeah,
Which is why
fundamentals.
like
So fundamentals,
stuff.
I mean, he does cover that, and he does cover creating depth, creating dimension, using different types of contrast, light source, things of that nature. He
I
does
mean,
cover all of that.
like how light falls on a cube. I mean, like basic. Like there's something I missed that the fundamentals that I missed are like day two.
Yeah, so that's all in there.
Okay,
He covers all of it,
I'm sure.
from fundamental light source to from to color contrast, to texture contrast, to how to make your own like basic clay models, so that you can go through and create your own kind of like I forget what they're called. I think they're called like maquettes or something like that. But basically you can make them, light them yourself, photograph them, and then you can take that and turn that into a tattoo. He goes over all that. He goes over material sciences and machines, needle configurations and what's the difference, how they can impact your tattooing. He covers a lot of stuff.
I believe he does. I don't know. How long do you think it would take to go through the entire canon?
That depends on how quickly you read, how much time you dedicate to it.
No, I understand that, but like, could I do it in 6 weeks, 6 months, 6 years?
Oh yeah, you could easily do it in say 2 months. If you read, even if you only read a half a chapter a night, it wouldn't even take you that long.
What do you think the best part about it is? Like, why?
It's comprehensive. That's what I think the best part about it is. It covers everything soup to nuts.
Well, yeah.
There's nothing else out there like that. You may find books out there like Huck Spalding's Tattooing A to Z. Right. You may find books out there like that cover technique and materials, but they don't cover art. You'll find art books out there that cover art, but they don't cover technique and materials. This is the only place I've ever found a total comprehensive collection of everything.
I understand that. And is it all biomechanical?
No,
Or is
most
there?
of it isn't.
That's the thing I can't get past. That's the honest thing, is that I don't want to do biomechanical, and I know that it doesn't matter. It's just like, because I can make any type of art I want if I learn the fundamentals and the building blocks. But I just feel like, and is it digital? Like, is there a lot of, or is it all kind of like, I don't.
So it's okay. 99% of it is not biomech.
Okay.
That's 99% of it is not that. Okay. And I know I just lost my video there because my iPad's being not cool.
Just, I honestly, either way, I can't afford it. So it doesn't matter. That's like, I can't afford it.
Yeah, it's not, it's not something that strictly focuses on biomech. What it focuses on is the fundamentals of art. It focuses on shape, form, value, line weight, contrast, perspective, lighting, color theory. It focuses on all of that. And in all honesty, it's less than $1 a day. No, so like if you save up for 6 months and you put 50 cents away a day for 6 months, which is reasonable, right? Even people on a super tight budget can put that away.
Okay.
you know, 50 cents a day for 6 months. And boom, there you go. You have enough for it.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm pretty bare bones right now.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, we all get there, but you
But
know, it
it's
all
just
starts with pocket change, right?
like the only reason that I did the Fireside one and not that is because Fireside is $30 and I can just take my time with it, go through it. Whereas with this one, like if I don't get through it in a month, I got to pay $30 again, right? Isn't that how it
Or,
works?
well, what they do is the
Buy.
subscription that's $300. I think it's 300 or something like
No,
that.
yeah, it's 300, and then it's like I don't like the recurring because then there's like this pressure to get it done, or like what if I
No. For that $300 price tag, you have all year.
But even that, but what if after a year, what if in 2 years I want to come back to it and I got to pay $300 again?
Yeah.
Oh shit, the thing's dying.
It's all good.
That's the real reason I can't actually.
And I understand that hesitation. That was one of my biggest issues with it was like, you know, I don't have the chance, like if I spend this money for it, I don't have the chance to revisit it later on, right? Think about it. Think about like in college, right? In college and school, you go through and you spend $250 on a textbook, right? You don't have to sell that textbook back. That is yours. You can hold on to that. And you can always revisit what you've learned in that, right? And I know because I have like shelves of college textbooks from when I was in school. And I still look back at them every now and then if I forget something. So I understand that hesitation.
But the hesitation is that it's ironic since we're tattoo artists, but it feels like if I go Guy Atchison versus anything else, that I'm more or less committing to that for the rest of my life. I'm committing to pay $30 for the rest of my life in order to kind of be in that knowledge center. And that's a huge.
Not necessarily.
I know, but
a lot of the stuff that you will pick up in there is stuff that you may already know. I myself keep like a little notebook right next to me. So if I'm going through the Canon again, which I try to do once a year, if I'm going through that, I'm writing down notes, you know, like chapter 2.2, you know, and I'll write down, you know, just by hand, like a little section of it, just so that I always remember that, you know, because I know if I write it down, I'm going to remember it.
I know what you mean. Like I was a professional student. I was
in
you know, undergrad and grad school, but then you go and you get the knowledge and then you take that with you for the rest of your life and you take notes and you do all that kind of stuff. I don't know.
Yes and no. I'll be totally honest with you. I've forgotten 90% of the shit I learned in school.
Yeah, I studied programming forever and I couldn't program anything right now.
I couldn't tell you how to calculate you know, I could barely even tell you what a dodecahedron is, right? The only reason why I know that is because it's a super awesome word.
I've never heard that word before, so I definitely don't know what it is.
It's a many-sided molecular structure, right? Dodecahedron is like a 20-sided geometrical form. And the only reason why I remember that is from chemistry class, right? Because that was drilled into my head and I was like, this is an awesome thing. I'd love to paint this. So that's one of the few things I remember from college in general. 99% of it I have forgotten.
What did you go to school for?
Art.
Just asking.
Yeah, no, I went to school for art. I got a minor in religion.
I knew that. You could have done it.
But I ended up working in the IT field for about 10 years. Yeah, professional nerd right here.
Yeah, that was me as well.
Yep. Or as I like to call it, super nerd, you know.
I say that one too.
Yeah. Or nerd in disguise. That's another good one, right?
Closet nerd is what I say.
But you know, I ended up working in the IT field for a very long time while I was tattooing. So I was working almost 80 hours a week for the better part of 9 years, which is a lot.
I used to get calls in the movies, and I go out on my little laptop and my BlackBerry, like some
Right.
doctor computer. Like, Jesus Christ! Would you like to see the first printing of my book?
Sure.
See,
Let's see. We'll spotlight you for
pretty
a
well.
minute.
Oh,
Let's see. Oh, very nice.
I'm excited. It's probably backwards, but
No, it's showing up right.
huh? No, it's showing up right. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it came out really well at the convention. Everyone was super into it. A bunch of people wanted to buy it, but I only had 2 copies.
Yeah, that's always the issue, right? Is supply and demand. Right?
Yeah.
Because if there's the demand and you don't know that there's the demand and you don't have enough supply, you know, it's like, I could have sold like 12 copies of this.
Yeah, well, it was mostly just to I didn't even know about the convention. It was just to take product photos for when the ink set gets launched. But yeah, is what it is.
Right.
Yeah, and I launched my website and my YouTube channel and everything. It all went live yesterday.
Nice. Very nice.
Yeah, it's exciting. But I never thought I'd get into broadcasting. Did you?
You know, for my last job for working in IT, it's something that I used to do a lot of web communications, telecom stuff, and virtual conferencing solutions for a major university in Philadelphia. So did I ever think I would get into broadcasting? No, but I'm also one of those people that doesn't really look at, you know, doing stuff like this as broadcasting per se, because I'm so used to doing like video conferences and web conferences and, you know, setting up stuff for Fortune 500 companies and CEOs and CFOs. Like that's something I got used to. I had to get used to really quickly.
That's conferencing.
Right.
That's different though. Conferencing is just talking to people that aren't there. This is putting information out, broadcast.
Well, so a lot of what we used to do was a lot of interactive web conferencing. So we used to host one of the IT cybersecurity conferences for the US for Fortune 500 companies. We would have guys from Lockheed Martin. We would have guys from different alphabet government agencies in there, all talking about cybersecurity. And it was completely interactive. So just like you and I are having a dialogue right now, this is exactly the way that we would run all of those web conferences.
So it was viewable.
Right. It was viewable. It was live participation, question answer live as it's happening.
For you, and just sort of makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah. So I got used to being on camera very early on. And then we started to go through and develop all kinds of other types of, you know, video on demand kind of resources for students. And that just kind of took off from there. So I got really familiar with the information technology side of everything very, very early on. It's been beneficial to an extent, but at the same time, the entire time I was doing that, I just kept thinking about all the tattoos I wanted to draw and do and all that kind of stuff. So it's like, where is your heart really? You know,
Yeah,
are you, you know, it's something that a mentor of mine, it was a question that they posed to me. They turned around to me the one day and said, who are you? Are you a tattoo artist? Are you a painter? Are you an IT guy? Are you a social media, whatever influencer? You know, what are you?
right.
He said, pick one and focus on that.
So what are you?
I'm a tattooer. That's what I do. It just so happens that I have other sets of skills that can be leveraged when need be. But that is what I try to put my primary focus into. I'm not going out investing tons and tons of money into like the latest and greatest AV equipment. I'm not trying to, go through and, develop all kinds of other stuff. I just want to do awesome tattoos. Like that's what I really want to do. I don't care if I become famous. I don't care if I make millions of dollars. I don't care if, someone out in East Jabip knows who I am. I just want to do awesome tattoos. And if I can share the knowledge I've learned along the way with other people to help them do awesome tattoos, yeah, why not? Because when some of us get better, we all get better as long as we share that information.
That's true. That's true. I don't know if I would answer it that way.
Well, I mean, we all have that question that we have to ask ourselves at the end of the day is, who are we? What do we do? Are we, what is our purpose? What is our meaning? What are we really trying to accomplish? Do we really want to accomplish going to the moon or climbing Mount Everest? Or, do we want to hike from coast to coast? Who are we? What is it that we do?
The line that I use is either I am technology or I am a computer. That's how I feel that my brain, it's pure logic. That's okay. Logic, computer programming, 3D spatial relationships, things like that. Just very calculated, that's like, that doesn't mean that I don't love tattooing and that I'm not a tattoo artist, you know what I mean? But I feel like my first forward foot when I walk in a room, it would be his iPad and designing, trying to do stuff on the computer for tattooing, even more than being a tattooer.
So now the question that I would pose is this.
Okay.
If the first thing that you step into the room, the first thing that you want to put forward is technology, regardless of what you're doing it for, if that's how you're identifying who you are, is a technology person, then how much of your time are you investing into that? And how much of your time are you investing into art?
No, I get that.
Because where you invest most of your time, that's going to be ultimately who you are.
Like when I was doing like general IT and optics, I worked for 2 huge optical companies, one in DC, which is based in the tri-state, and then one that's going national. And I was just helping run their IT department, and I was miserable. And then I got into tattooing because I wanted to make art, and I've been on this art grind for like 8 years. And now doing this digital design stuff, and like just that feels more like, it feels like I left and then I came back, but now it's like art technology. So like it's I feel like that's more important than, like, it's more important to me to do everything on the iPad than it is to do, like, that's my first priority, is making everything fit inside a computer. Always how my brain works. But I think that, so you said is art your focus? It is, but it's technology and art, and then now education.
Well, I don't know if I would say that. I would say technology is your primary focus based on what you've recently said. I would say technology is your primary focus and art is the driving inspiration behind that.
But don't technology and education somewhat go hand in hand?
I think technology is one of the avenues that education can utilize. It's a tool, but I don't think that, before technology, people were learning with, pieces of paper and chalkboards.
But theoretically, if I give you a piece of technology, there certainly are some things that you can just start to use them. with their documentations, their instruction manuals. As soon as you give somebody something with technology, there's going to be something or a Google website or something like that. So that's what I meant by hand in hand, not like you can't give someone a piece of technology without telling them what the hell it does. Kind of a deal.
True. I mean, you're 100% correct on that. And I mean, you can even boil that down to saying back in the 1700s, a pencil was a piece of technology. That was a writing implement.
Right.
You know, so that was technology. And having compressed charcoal, man, that's some next level stuff, right? Like, they didn't have compressed charcoal. They had vine charcoal, which was very soft and very brittle and broke very easily.
You're a caveman, you get handled a pencil and like start whacking it on stuff or something. Right?
Yeah, you don't know what it is until someone says, no, you do this. Right. So, I mean, technology can be interpreted in many different ways. Depending on how you're defining that will ultimately depend on, you know, if you're talking more modern technology, cool. Yeah. But I mean, based on what you've said, art tends to be the driving motivation behind your use of technology.
Correct. But then the driving motivation, like when it all comes down to like one single thing, it's about worldwide artist collaboration of art through technology. Did that make sense?
Right. But so that almost seems like worldwide collaboration is something that comes with many, many years of experience, a lot of expansion, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah. But you need to have that fundamental there. You need to have that art focus, regardless of the technology.
If a piece of technology is documented, and just two across the world are able to communicate through that technology, doesn't that like, I know it would have to expand and like grow and like do all that kind of stuff. It doesn't have to be. Like that was, you just jumped so far into the future. You know what I mean? Like the first.
You can, and technology definitely opens up a lot of doors.
Turning that first one on, the first step of the telephone is the first, like, hey. And the other guy person's like, hey. And so it's like, you know, the whole landing on the moon, single step.
Right.
But that doesn't mean that it's going to take 10 years to land on Mars, maybe, but.
No, but what I see when you're talking about the moon landing and all that stuff, the first thing that comes to my mind is someone laying in a grassy field, looking up at the stars, looking at the moon, saying, that's where I want to go. That's what I want to do.
Right.
That was their purpose. That was their direction. That was everything that they worked their entire lives for.
Right.
You know, they weren't worried about how or where or whatever. That'll come. That bridge will be crossed. But to understand the why and identify your motivation, I think, is the bigger obstacle. And that's what I think a lot of people don't have.
I have a hard time connecting with people just in general, but through art, I'm able to do that. So that's the driving motivation. That's why I make so much of it, that and just to get what's inside of me out of me. So like there's a strong motivation because the more I connect with other artists, the more I feel connected to the world, kind of a thing. So that's my just expression of self and through communication. Like if me and someone are in a museum and we're looking up at the same painting, right? And we start talking about it. That's communication through the medium of art. That's why they call it a medium, I kind of assume, right? It's used to facilitate.
See, I'm that person where I'd be standing next to someone in a museum and I'd be looking at the same painting. They'd say something to me and I'd just be like, yeah, and then turn and walk in the other direction. You know, I don't actively and willingly engage with a whole lot of other people. I don't do that. I'm that guy that you'll see that's like, yeah, let's go out to a bar for a drink. And if no one I know is there, I will sit at the bar, I will have a drink, I won't talk to anyone, and I will go home. Right.
Okay.
Because I don't I'm not very good socially,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
At least at first, until I get to know people, and then I open up and I won't shut the hell up,
That's
as you
because
can tell.
what I'm talking about. But for me, it's things like art and music where that breaks down, where you don't have to say anything.
Yeah,
When
and
you
9 times out of 10, I don't. But you know, you're in the same area, you're occupying the same space. So I mean, I can understand that, but to me, language
as an
language is
artist,
a different story.
well, I know. Well, you're picking apart my analogies pretty harshly.
Sorry.
But let's remove the verbal exchange, and let's say that I put a painting in a gallery,
Right.
and somebody comes and looks at it and feels something. Then even if I'm not there, or if your art is walking around all over Philadelphia and the world right now, you're in some way connected to those people, because it's like that's how I feel about my tattoos. It's like it's creating connections and sending those out into the world. It's like putting my mark, not in like a, you know what I mean? Like it's like expressing myself.
I feel you on that. Like
Yeah.
I definitely hear you. You know, I've tattooed in a couple of different countries, and you know, I know for a fact that there are still people out there walking around with work that I've done on them, and it's like, whoa.
What I mean. Or what if like somebody, you know, that person goes and gets another tattoo, and then the tattoo you did influences the artist because they see it for their next tattoo, and it's like the ripple effect.
Well, my initial thought though, when I think about that is, okay, if I just tattooed someone in this other part of the world, you know, at this stage in my career, how does that look now? I know I can do better than that now. You know, maybe I should go back there and tattoo again, and maybe I can show them that I can do better than that now, right? Because without progressing as an artist, you know, if you stay at that same level and you're not trying anything new, you're not advancing yourself artistically, then yeah, you could connect with a certain number of people in a certain way, but think about how much bigger of a reach and how much more of an impact you can have on someone's life if you become better at art, right?
If you become better, yeah,
Leveraging
absolutely.
the latest technology and the latest tools and everything like that to create better or inspire better, or you know, collaborate in a different way to gain more knowledge. So I can understand that, you know, but to me, my focus is on creating better art every day.
You know, you want to conquer art. Not conquer is a bad word, but like you want to learn everything and anything you could possibly learn about art, right?
Absolutely.
Right.
You know, I'm not worried about, you know, trying to wait, what is this? Connection request.
Huh?
I don't know. I'm seeing like some kind of a Bluetooth connection request. Oh well, screw it. Where was I? Yeah, like to me, it's I'm not worried about like anything else. I just want to be better at making art.
Who wants to be better at making art, Jason?
Is that Lauren? Hi, Lauren.
What's up? I'm actually outside of the Tampa Tattoo Convention right now.
Are you really?
Yeah, Faith said she was on. It's kind of. I'm not sure. I actually stepped out to grab some lunch and stuff, but yeah, so far so good, you guys. There's a lot of cool people that I've met that I've seen kind of around the country now. Doesn't seem like any sort of COVID scare at all whatsoever. So I mean, things are on. But yeah, it's at a beautiful, beautiful area. It's kind of on my phone. But the Tampa Convention Center itself is a great venue. Probably better than most that I've been to. It's right on the right in the water with a lot of stuff to do. So I see a lot of tattooers are hitting actual good food, which doesn't happen either a lot in conventions. So yeah.
Right. Is Fibs working there this year?
I did not see Fibs.
Okay.
So I know that Raw is here. We've got the owner James is here with me, and Soya. A lot of cool people. Rad Ink is here. Anthony Bennett is tattooing with us. So yeah,
Very nice.
Great time. Yeah, their art.
Yeah, buddy. Who knows?
Yeah, so,
if I plan it out, maybe next year I'll be down there with you.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. I would probably come back to this. I know Spooky Empire is the same weekend. So that has a little bit of contradiction with some artists, but yeah.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, so Faith came down yesterday. We had a little bit of fun, not too much fun.
Not too much.
Yeah.
Which is awesome.
Yeah. I took my mom to the convention today. She's never seen a tattoo being done in her life. So that was cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So it was very cool. She got to meet some of the people that had been there on my journey, you know, when things are different before and traveling in a van for the inks. And yeah, it kind of brings everything into perspective, makes it real. So yeah. I'll flip my camera because nobody needs to see me.
Yeah, I'd love to take a look at the venue and everyone that's there. And
yeah, I'm gonna go back in. I know that we just quick parked the car, so if I don't do it now, I'll probably zoom back in a couple minutes or so. I'm gonna go say hi to James and introduce him.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, guys, this is a big day in Tampa. There's so much going on that there was a decent amount of foot traffic, I'd say, a good amount of booths. The layout was nice and clean in comparison to some shows I've been to where they have like a, you know, kind of shitty layout and gets everything so congested. So,
yeah. How many artists would you say are there this year?
Maybe 600, maybe.
Okay. That's a good size show.
Yep. They had a nice stage set up, all that good stuff. I got to see some, like I said, people I haven't seen in a while, which is kind of cool because sometimes when you go to a convention, even in the last little bit of time, it's like, oh, who are you? Who are you? Who are you? And today or this weekend was nice to see some familiar faces from the past.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So how's the drawing group going today? What are you working on?
Well, I was working on a Daruma and then I switched gears a little bit. I'm now working on an Art Nouveau like centerpiece, if that makes any sense to you.
Yeah.
I've really kind of been into the Art Nouveau style a lot more lately. So I've just been drawing up like different types of centerpieces for like directional flow and focus. You know, so just playing around with different ideas. I downloaded this new app called Geometrica. And it was designed by Corey Ferguson, who actually also designed the tattoo print system that I use for printing out large scale tattoos.
Okay.
And this app is absolutely incredible.
What's it called?
Geometrica.
Oh, awesome. Hey, Mom, he's oops, sorry.
So this is the app that I'm using right now.
I was trying to figure out what the hell that was.
Yeah. This app is incredible. One of the best apps I've ever found for creating repeating patterns, geometric patterns, mandalas, all different types of stuff. It's absolutely unreal.
Yeah, that looks tighter. I've used Sketchbook, but it's like, it's fun, but it doesn't look like what you're doing at all.
Check this out, right? Just to give you an idea of what this thing can do, most apps can only do like 4 or like maybe 8 different segments, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that would be an 8 segment mandala, right? And we've all seen that. You divide a piece of paper in quarters and then in quarters again, and there you go. This app can do an unreal number of different segments, 200 different line segments.
That's a lot.
It's way more than I think is ever feasibly tattooable, right? That is 200 individual segments.
That looks cool.
I don't know if that would ever be feasibly tattooed. And if it was, I don't know how long that would actually last as far as its longevity.
What if you put like 200 people lying on their stomach around in a circle? You know what I mean?
I mean, hey, I'm down to see that. That'd be pretty cool.
One tattooist each one, and that'll be like on 200 people, so that when they line up.
Well, you guys, I'm walking back into the convention. I've got my mom with me. Like I said, she had never seen a tattoo before being done. So I'll turn my video back on in a couple minutes here and kind of show you a little bit around. I'll show you the raw booth and a couple artists working. So
that would be awesome. A few minutes.
It's a little bit of a walk getting in, but also fairly easy. And overall, the clients seem happy, and I think that's a good thing to see. There's not a lot of like cold temperatures. People are generally happy, good weather.
Well, I mean, it is Florida, so who doesn't enjoy going to Florida?
It seemed based on I don't know, it was like not relaxed, but just like a comfortable, like there's people, but not too many people.
Right. Well, and that's, you don't want to be in a tattoo convention that's way too busy. You don't. Yeah. It's just not fun.
There was enough people that it was.
What about Philadelphia?
Philly was insane.
That's
and
what
every year, every single year, without fail, I always say that it's my last year working at that show. Just because it's so busy, it's so congested, and there are so many people there that it's just almost not even fun. Like if you have, I always try to warn people and tell them, like, listen, if you have social anxiety, you do not want to go to the Philly show. You don't want to do it.
No. And not only social anxiety, it's like anxiety in general, like of all the stuff that could happen, you know? For me, I always hated security in Philadelphia.
Yeah. I always find that if you joke around with any of the security guards in Philadelphia a little bit, it's like totally changes their mind of you.
Huh? In the Philadelphia convention. So guys, I'm walking in. Kira, you just joined, but I'm in Tampa. I'm gonna go say hi to James. Got my mom with me. Say hi. And
hey.
I've got my headphones in so she can't see us.
Yeah.
So here we go. Probably looks familiar, Faith.
It does.
What's up here? You're just signing in, but I am in Tampa, Florida at the Villain Arts show. Now would be a good time. Thank you for your text. I'm doing well, Kier. I haven't gotten back to you.
No worries. We're all busy, Lauren.
So we've got Jeff Prado over here. Great guy.
Wow.
Working on some tattoos. I got some bomb chairs. Really like those chairs. So this is our little area. All the fun stuff. And I will probably sign out in just a minute so I can say hi to James and stuff. And we got Spooks working. What's up, Spooks? Yeah, and this is our raw booth. Anthony shaking it like he's born with it. Yeah, but overall, I'd say, you know, based on this, there's booths forever. South of heaven. All right, I'm going to sign off to do the introduction, and I will see you guys soon. Thanks for letting me hop on.
Awesome. Thank you very much for jumping in.
Check out the Tattoo Weekly. Yeah, the Tattoo Weekly will be tonight from the Tampa convention at 9 o'clock Eastern. So I'll be sure to see all you guys there.
Can't wait for it.
All right, peace.
All right, take care. What's up, Kier?
Hey guys.
Hey, what's cooking?
Not much. I'm just setting up to start painting. We just my one roommate just like redid our whole studio, so we're getting ready to do some jamming. We got
right on.
Yeah.
Are you guys working with finger paints again?
You know, You know it, Jason. That's the only way to go, right?
Well, I mean, that's what I prefer to do,
Well,
but
I
that's
see.
just me.
How are you guys? I haven't been on in a little bit.
Yeah, I'm doing well. Yeah,
Cool.
Faith's here. We're talking, motivations and how we kind of see things and identify things and who we are as individuals and what we focus on.
Ah, artist philosophy.
Yeah, express art through mediums to express and form connections.
Why you wake up and do it every day? I got
Exactly, motivation.
Motivation, what's that?
Or what's your motivation, Jason? You said you want to be the best artist you can be, but why?
Why?
Yeah,
Is
why?
very simple.
Okay.
Because growing up, I was never very good at art.
Because what?
I was never very good at it.
So the motivation is that you
I
want
want to be better. I want to improve and I want to understand it and I want to be able to sit down and I want to be able to do incredible art.
So you don't feel like it comes naturally to you?
I've always had a natural eye for it, but I wouldn't say that it's always come naturally. No. When I was growing up, my cousin Billy was actually the natural artist of the family. If you asked him to sit down and draw Freddy Krueger, even at 12 years old, he could grab some Sharpies and sit down and draw Freddy Krueger. Like, no issues, no hesitation, no challenge, nothing. He would just sit down and do it. And it was like that. It was easy as pie to him. He didn't struggle at all. He didn't worry about proportions. He just sat down and he could naturally do it, and it was absolutely incredible. And I grew up around a couple of different people that had that ability in life. And I would sit back and I would try to do it. And like one eye would be over here and the mouth would be down over here and the nose would be way too big for the face. And, so I was always jealous of people that had that ability. And I always had an eye for like colors and layout, designs. I could always analyze and understand art. But when it came down to practical application and the creation of it, that's where I struggled the most. So that's what really drives me to be better and do better art, is just the fact that I wasn't born with that natural innate kind of ability to create art. I didn't have that.
You see it as you overcoming an obstacle for you doing what you want to do, which is art.
Exactly.
I mean, I get that. Before I did art, I played guitar for 25 years. That's just what I wanted to do. I tried working in the studio. I went to school for audio engineering for a while. I worked in Pro Tools, but I was just never, I was good on guitar, but this is never going to be the best. For me, I always have to be I have to devote my entire life basically to art and tattooing. It's not like I have to, there's no half-assing it.
Right. And that's what kind of, has always been my primary motivation was, if this is what I want to do, and if this is what I want to accomplish, what do I have to do to get there?
My mom's a very good artist, so there was always art and art projects in my house and stuff. And I always did well, in school and in high school. All I wanted to do was take art classes, but I never understood that it could be something that was learned. I thought that you had to like the kid next to me is drawing motherfucking this stuff, and then I'm over here what? How do you hold a pencil? I didn't understand about forms and shapes, and someone could actually teach me, just like you could teach anybody anything. You wouldn't expect somebody to be a doctor, just what? You can't just be a doctor. What's up with that?
Right.
But arts, it's not like you just be an artist. You gotta learn, you gotta practice, you gotta drive. I wish someone had told me that earlier. But I think I'm more talented in the visual arts than I am in the audio arts. So that's kind of why I made the switch. I could never make the money I wanted or do the job that I wanted in the music field.
Yeah, getting into music. So I as well grew up playing different instruments and learning music and learning everything of that nature. You know, reading music, writing music, composing music, transposing music. You know, played any number of different instruments: bass, guitar, baritone, trombone, trumpet, you name it. And you know, for me, it always ended up coming down to, is this something that I feel like I can do regularly? Is it fun? Is it challenging? Because we all know that if something isn't challenging, it's not going to keep our interest. So, you know, that's part of the reason why I don't do IT anymore, is that it's not challenging anymore. Once you understand the basics of it, there's no challenge. Like there's no constant excitement anymore when you've been doing it for so long. Yeah, there's new toys, and toys are great. I love toys. I love expensive toys. Kira knows. Like, I love fancy high-tech toys.
Sometimes, in some ways, you like to, if you want to go after and want to do something like draw this or whatever technique, you want to know everything about it and try it in every single way and know like just full scope of everything. That's the same. Like I had to try every single freaking needle size that Peak makes. Like I just had to, because I wanted to know if like the 15 bug pin was different from like 13 bug pin. If that minuscule difference would make a difference. And like it's but then like right next to me, I'm like, what are you using? It's like 7. It's like, why do you use that? And they're just like, it always works, it's fine.
Yeah. And you know, it's funny that you mentioned that.
One of that is I always end up using the freaking 7 too. Like I end up going and get a 7.
Yeah.
Like even when I try something else, it comes back to the 7.
You know, and that's what you found that you like, and that's awesome. You know, it never ceases to amaze me where like I'll think that I've got it, right? I understand this. Like this is something I have now, right? I've understood this and I can use this. This is what works for me. And then I see someone out there that's using something totally different that I've tried, and I just I wasn't doing good work with it. Maybe I was overworking skin. Maybe it just wasn't getting smooth color blends. Who knows? And then they're turning around and they're doing flawless work with it. And it's like, how is this happening? Right. And it just always blew my mind, you know, with how certain people can do certain things like that, you know. And I'll try it and I would go back and forth, and I still go back and forth all the time with like what I use. But at the end of the day, identifying what works best for you, because you are not like every other person, right? I think that is the important thing, you know, because I've never met 2 tattooers that tattoo exactly the same way, ever. Everyone is a little bit different.
Something that happens to me a lot, just, I don't know, it's just the way I am, but like I'll be struggling with something, whatever it is, it's line work or something like that. And then I discover this new way to think about it. Like I'm going to turn it like 1/4 millimeter this way with a twist before I pull it. And I start doing that. And I'm like, I fixed my lines forever. And for some reason it works. And then I start to wonder if it's like the confidence issue of like, because that little thing was giving me confidence. It's like a never ending. Like, do you feel like hands down, without a doubt, this is how I effing line? Or do you feel like you're always constantly adapting to the skin and kind of like, it's like sometimes I feel like that's really what I'm getting better at. I'm not getting better at lining. I'm getting better at reading the skin and adapting my technique to what's in front of me constantly. It's almost like, because I don't feel like 2 lines pull the same way. Even if you're in the same area, like you go like that and then you go like that, and it's like.
So for me, I always try to stick to the fundamentals, right? And what fundamentally works best. What's the middle of the road? If I'm struggling with pulling a line, I'm going to go back to my fundamentals, and I'm going to go back to what I know works the best for what I'm trying to accomplish. You know,
Well, what
it's
I'm asking is, do you feel like you found like lines, for lack of a better word, like lines are my bitch? You know, like I got lines down and I can just continue to do that for the rest of my career? Or do you feel like it's going to be an ever going process to just, because I don't feel like I've ever found like with, it's, I don't know what I'm just, what I'm trying to, like if I had to write it down, I don't think I could.
which is understandable. It's tough to describe sometimes. You know, I think that
I feel like it would be different every time. Like if I did a tattoo on this person and described exactly how I did it versus, and then I did it on the next person, it would be again.
well,
Time.
also keep in mind, you have to remember that no two people out there in the world have the exact same skin type.
That's what I mean. So really, isn't it just adaptation and experience that we're?
That's part of it. Part of it is adaptation. Part of it is experience. But another part of it, in my humble opinion, and you know, maybe there's people out there that are willing to debate me on this, but there is a middle of the road, right? There is a baseline. This is the middle of the road, and you can deviate from either side to find your own little spot. But there is a middle of the road that works 90% of the time with most people, right?
Yeah, there's definitely.
You know, that's just what I have found personally.
There's definitely like if I go to pull a line on 5 different people, like the first couple lines, I'm gonna pull them all the same way. Because that's what I found to work the best most of the time. But does that necessarily mean that it's almost like, what am I trying to say? If I did the same exact tattoo, same exact one, say palm size, packed color on 2 different people, do you think you would have the same thought process and the same, like, do you see what I mean? But that's not even, what the hell am I talking about? Let's change the subject. I feel like I'm digging myself a hole.
Lining and figuring out outlines is one of the, to me, it's one of the most important factors in doing a solid tattoo, right? Kier can attest to this. Like, I am all about line weight, line work. If the line work's not solid, is it really going to hold up? That is something that I focus on religiously. And I know because I've preached to Kier about it several times.
I line with the mag though. Just kidding. That's my goal.
Yeah, I mean,
to
like,
line with a mag.
No, I'm saying that would be, I do sometimes in realism. I would love to just mags for the rest of my life.
I know artists out there that will line with 23 mags.
I know. Like it's just like that's more,
and they've got the most saturated, most solid, crispiest lines you will ever see in your life.
That's what I mean. But like to me,
they have the thing is they have designed and revolved their entire style around these super crazy, insanely, gigantically bold, solid lines. That has become a staple of their style.
That's part of it. I was headed there until I finally learned that I was going too deep.
Well, that'll do it, you know?
But it had been years and years. It was in the very beginning. That's why I redid an apprenticeship. But I don't know. I can't use standards anymore. I can't do it. Like
I think, you know, standards have their place. You know, they have their purpose. I don't see anything wrong with using them.
Me either.
I've been tattooed by them several times, like standard number 12 medium tapers, and I've healed flawlessly.
I feel like what happened is I had a stock of both, bouncing back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And I was like, F it, I'm just learning how to do everything with bug pins. And then that's going to be it. And for lines, that worked great. Like, at the same time, it doesn't. I don't know. I think I'm just itching to get back to tattooing because I've been doing stuff for my company instead of actually doing the tattoos.
I mean, like,
You know.
I mean, I've been having trouble with lining for like a while. I mean, Jason knows a lot that's like the number one thing that I complain about. But, you know, I mean, Jason's kind of right with the whole, like, it's up to you on what works best for you. Like, I've been taught to like kick it back and run it slower. I've been taught to just run it right off the tip. I've been taught like a million different ways on how to line, but at the end of the day, it's like up to me when I'm sitting in front of that skin, what decision is best to pull the best line. It depends on the area too, that I'll either run it right off the tip or I'll kick it back and run it slower. And it matters like what needle cartridge company I'm using.
This is what I said. Are we really just learning to adapt to skin? We're not even learning, we're learning to adapt to fix problems, basically.
Well, I mean, that's
like tattooing is all about. Tattooing is all about just the it depends moment. So it's really just trusting yourself as an artist to make the right decision to get the right result out at the end of the day. In my opinion, I don't know shit though.
No, I would completely and totally 100% agree with that. We are artists that are working with a constant variable, right?
Right.
And I know constant variable is an oxymoron. It doesn't make sense. It's illogical, right? But that's what we do. That's what we work with. We are constantly having to adapt to an ever-changing situation, right? That's a given. There is no debate in that. Everyone is going to be different. Every cartridge company out there that you use is going to have a little bit of a different membrane tension. Every machine out there that you use is going to have a little bit of a different stroke length or impact. Every machine out there that you use, whether they're the exact same machines or not, is going to run a little bit differently just based on minute variances in the way that they're constructed. You know, there are constant variables that we have to attack and challenge ourselves to overcome every day.
But that's part of what I'm talking about too, because like by limiting myself to only bug pins, I removed at least one freaking variable, because I tend to think about it, and I come up with these like mnemonics and these things that don't necessarily even really fix what I'm doing, but they just keep me from getting, like, I call it the fear or whatever. Like when you just like, I don't know, sometimes it's like, if it weren't from my own head, the line that I perk would be perfect. But because I'm getting in my own head about it, I'm causing myself to make changes that are unnecessary. It's almost like if I'm hyper critical and like for a lot to what I'm doing, maybe I'm talking about how do I let go again? I don't know.
I think you touched on a very good point, which is consistency.
Consistency, yeah.
Eliminate your variables. And that's one of my philosophies of life, right? Eliminate your variables, eliminate potential issues, stick to the same machine, use the same cartridge brand, use the same groupings for everything. And you will understand that, okay, I'm used to using this, and I've used, the same machine with the same 3, 5, 7, 9, 11 liners from the same company for over 1,000 tattoos. I know exactly what my product is going to be for this. I know this. Now I can start to venture out from there.
There's definitely, if I find something that works for me, I use Peak needles just because I love them. You know what I mean? Like, and I use those and they always work for me. And so that's consistent. I know what they're going to be like. They're always come the same way. They always work the same way. But as far as Um,
It all just matters. It's all artist to artist type of thing. That's why like tattooing is so great, because like with painting or any other medium, like it has its rules and its regulations, and then you just follow that and that's it. And then with tattooing, it's like everything that you thought you knew, just throw it right out the window. It's like
Oh, you like to work dark to light, you know, when you tattoo, that's great. But you know, in painting, you can work light to dark.
you can do whatever the hell you feel
Yeah.
like.
You can use spray paint as your base coat. Fuck it, why not? You know, I want to do mixed media. Cool.
Do whatever you want,
do
man.
it. Yeah.
You want to put some stamps
Wash and
and
acrylic, fine.
feel free.
the one guy I work with
No.
used to say tattooing is 1 step forward, 2 steps back. Do you agree with that? Like
I
every
think
time
that
you
all
figure
depends on your perspective.
Yeah.
You know, if you control your variables, then there's no reason why you shouldn't constantly be making steps forward. The biggest variable that you have to learn to control is yourself, right? Your machines are mechanical.
I know
Those cartridges are mechanical. They are constants. They are not variables. Unless you change them, they will operate the exact same way every single time.
And yeah, and the more you tattoo certain body parts too, is like you'll know like what to do when you approach it. Like, okay, if I'm doing the inner bicep, I really can't like just drill it in there. I'm gonna like just kiss it.
I mean, you can, it's not recommended, right?
know.
I mean, unless you really don't like the person, in that case, you just bring it home.
That's like the first foot and the second foot that I tattoo. I'm probably gonna lean on the second foot because the first one's jumping around, because you learn each part of the body and how they feel and how the skin feels, and then so it becomes experience combined with adaptation, combined with mental focus, or controlling your own.
But that's where, like, for me, I don't even count adaptation, right? Certain skin areas, yeah, you have to stretch more. Certain skin areas, you have to stretch less. Certain skin areas are going to be a lot thinner, a lot more sensitive. They're going to be a lot more prone to irritation. But that doesn't necessarily mean that I have to really adapt too much of what I do. Right? I keep things pretty consistent, tattoo to tattoo to tattoo to tattoo. Almost predictably consistent. Not only does that help me control the quality of product I put out, but that also helps me control the fact that if I have someone that comes back in with a tattoo that needs to be touched up, I know exactly what black I used. I know exactly what gray wash set I used. I know exactly what blues, greens, reds, oranges, and yellows I've used. I know exactly what size needle tapers I've used. I know exactly what size mag I used, because it stays the same throughout.
One of my, I don't like to ever put ink into the pen unless it's touched another ink. Like I like everything to be never the same. Even though it is the same, I'm always trying to put freedom into the fine places
So
where I.
if you like things to never be the same, how are you controlling them?
Well, I'm controlling by learning.
Do you see what I'm trying to get at?
But it's not so much that, it's just that it's like you gotta have some fun. That's what I'm trying to say.
For me, fun is executing an awesome tattoo.
Well,
One that I know is going to hold up, one that I know is saturated with color, that has the right amount of contrast, that has a beautiful composition, and then seeing that tattoo healed and saying, did I do that? I did that one? Are you sure I did that? I don't think I did that. Did I do? I did that. That's fun.
But if I do a technically proficient, perfect, executed tattoo, and it heals beautifully and it comes back at me, and I don't feel like I got that expression of art into it through mixing and through, I don't want to do it the same way every time. At least not the part, yeah, but not the part as far as the same palette.
So that to me stems from your base philosophy of tattoo, right? I view tattoos a little bit differently than you do.
Okay.
I view them more so as I have someone coming to me that is wanting to express something that they want to convey.
Correct.
My job is to execute said tattoo for them so that they can accurately express what they want to express.
Right.
Has nothing to do with me, has nothing to do with what expression
saying-
I want to put in it.
No,
It's
but my job.
What can I do to make this happen for you?
Take whatever concept or idea that they have, take everything that I know about art, and to give them the best piece of artwork that I can. That's their vision. Whatever. I'm not trying to like hijack their tattoo. It's
Right.
I feel like it's in guitar, there are two types of players. There are technical players, and then there's more of like a feeling where you don't enter the left brain, right brain as far as art goes. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I feel like if I'm using, it's like technical stuff is what you practice and practice and practice and practice and practice so that when it's needed, it's there. You can pull a line, how to do all that kind of stuff. But then there's that, again, there's that expression that of art into the skin that, do you think that all happens more in the design process? Like
I try to execute it all in the design. I try to eliminate as many variables, and so I'm talking to a very good friend of mine named Rich, phenomenal tattooer. You can actually see the interview that I did with him. It's on YouTube in the Reinventing channel. And he goes through, he does all of his problem solving before he even puts the stencil on. And it takes a little bit of the fun out of doing that tattoo for him.
Right.
And it eliminates a lot of that, like, oh yeah, I'm just going to draw this on and I'll be more expressive with it. But he's controlling those variables to the extent that when he's drawing it out and he's getting his value rendering done and he's creating his line drawing, that's where his fun is coming in. So from there on out, it's just simply applying it, right? So you can have that kind of an idea, or you can have the idea of, I'm going to get a base gist of this for my stencil and like a base gist of this for whatever. And then I'm going to kind of go off of that and build off of that. But to me, that comes down to level of experience, level of comfort, and level of demand, right? If you don't have the demand for that, then you shouldn't really be doing that because people are coming to you with a specific concept in mind. If you don't have the level of comfort with it, you shouldn't be doing that because now you're going to be doubting yourself, and that's going to show up in the tattoo. And obviously, if you don't have the skill, you shouldn't be doing it, even if you have the demand and you have the comfort. But if you know from self-reflection that you don't have the skill level to do that, which I know for a fact I don't, then I'm not going to do that because I know that tattoo is not going to be a direct reflection of what I'm capable of.
Okay.
So I think based on those three factors, there are certain people out there that have that ability.
But for me, for what I technically have done is use technology and build a system that has fail safes that I can have that expression and freedom and have the colors flow and do it at the time of the tattoo and not have it feel like I didn't do the best tattoo that I did.
Which is awesome. But say they want to come back in for a touch up.
The system's always the same. It's just, that's not a problem. I use the same ink. I use this.
Okay.
It's just, it's not, I mean, I do and I don't. Like I have the base set and then I just like grab whatever colors I feel like using right that second.
Right. But that's what I'm saying. How is it then going to be possible to go through and specifically match that exact tone?
Well, because the colors are all flowing into each other anyway, and you just look at it kind of is what I feel like. Like if I see like a hard orange, or I can usually match it or blend it together.
Okay. Okay. So you're going more based off of visual than anything else, which makes sense.
Right.
You know, I've always found that sometimes when I combine my contrasting colors to create my grays, to gray certain things out, that sometimes I'll forget if I'm mixing an orange and a green, or if I'm mixing maybe like a blue and a canary yellow. Well, no, because that makes green. Like a blue and an orange. Sometimes maybe it's more bluish than it is greenish, and that can kind of depend on what shade of green I grab. You know, because each green has different levels of blue and yellow in it. Some actually don't have any blue, some are just black and yellow, but that's a different story. You know, so like for me, I can get a little confused by doing that.
It could just be, I mean, the style that I do is it's an attempt to focus on value even more than color. So like, let's say if I have an object, it still looks value-wise, it looks like it does, but it has like 8 different colors in it. So for me, it's not as, I don't, it's almost like it's like there's not a large area of yellow that I have to match and fill a little bit more in, because it's all kind of always, for me, the goal is always to just be, have it all flowing and do that kind of, I don't know. I don't know. I feel like I'm the bad guy this time.
No, I'm just trying to understand where you're coming from. I mean, you were posing some questions and some ideas, and I'm just trying to hear, you know, where you're coming from with it. You know, maybe it can enlighten me to something that I should be doing differently.
I mean, the whole point of the book that I wrote is to take away the fear of using the wrong color or of mixing the wrong colors together, or just, it gives a practical way where you can use color without fear, specifically for the art of tattooing, which is a permanent art, which will allow for on-the-fly self-expression and color choices to the point where you can create tattoos that never look anything like, they're all like, there are technical rules or patterns, but as far as color choices, that's just, I mix everything. Like, I don't know like,
Okay.
I mean,
you know,
like,
I would just mix and match it.
For like, Jason and I went to that Paradise PYB, and we did that Jesse Smith seminar. And ever since I took that seminar and started learning color temperature, every time I pick a palette for whatever like color piece that I'm doing, I'll like just take a picture of it and like just get rid of all the saturation out of it. So that way it's just values. So that way I can understand and double check that all of the colors that I'm using are of the correct value tones that I need. And then that way it just takes all the worry out of it.
Yeah,
so,
it's simplified.
I mean, I always work from a black and gray photographs. I don't like any color information. And then like all the designs I do are basically just maps of value so that I can do whatever I want color-wise, kind of.
Yeah, and ever since I took like there's a Marco Bucci color seminar that I took that really highlights on color temperature. And ever since I took that seminar, it's been like eye-opening to the conversations that colors truly have with each other.
What's the down and dirty with color temperature? Give me an overview.
Like color temperature, like as a whole?
Just, yeah, what you mean? I don't know what you're talking about.
Like the conversations that happen between colors, like complementary colors, for example, like the bridge that needs to be built between like red and green. Like you have to have a middle ground color for that transition to happen, which is where like temperature could come in line, because if you really have like the most saturated colors, like be it like a cadmium red, some people might think that that's like a super bright color, but it's really not. It's very dark and almost like a 7 or 6 on the value scale. So it's kind of just understanding your color temperatures as far as like warm versus cool, and how to pick your color palettes that way. And it's a whole ordeal. If you want, I can send you the information for it. It's a great seminar.
No, as
and it
far
really
as
breaks it down.
What's the temperature of cadmium red?
What the temperature is warm. That's like a true warm right there.
But that's, so you're just basically, you're talking about warm and cool when you say color temperature.
Yeah, but then when you start getting into like tertiary colors and they have like both mixed together, then that's when you can start getting confused. And then it kind of helps you work within those tertiary colors because that is more recognizable amongst
So
your eyes.
so the term color temperature just means the use of warm and cool and where it is in regards to that.
Yeah, it's just the
I
temperature.
mean, like
of
their
the
temperature,
food, really.
orange was like a 95 and like red was like a 4 and blue has a cold, so temperature.
Yeah, like in the Jesse Smith seminar, he was talking about like how he didn't understand what the warmest color is because you have like red, orange, and yellow. Those are like the basic warms, and he didn't know what the warmest of warms was. And like it took me a while to like that kind of like stuck with me, and I was like, well, what is like the warmest warm? And I kind of like flipped it. Well, what's the coldest cold? And everybody says like blue, right? And then what's the complementary of blue, right? That's your fucking warmest warm right there.
Makes sense.
So it's just like conversations that colors have, and it's not really like a guessing matter of it. Like they are that way for a purpose. Because scientifically that's just how it works.
It's science.
It's science. At the end of the day, you can go back to science and it makes sense. Yep. And I picked up a new book too. I can find it. This color theory book that's pretty much has nothing to do with like artistic terms.
Let me guess, it's all based off of the color teal.
No, I mean it does talk about it, but
Oh, you and teal.
Here it is. This one. Let me see. Theory of Colors by Johann Wolfgang von Goethe. He came up with the whole prisma, or like a
prism
pyramid.
Yeah.
It's like pretty much if I like were to flip through it, right? Because my problem was the color theory is that I didn't want another picture book to learn color theory. I was like, I want words and like terms and understanding. So I saw this book in my local bookstore, and it's all pretty much just discussing the scientific factors behind color theory and like why colors are the way they are. Like complementary colors are complementary colors, not just because some random dude sat down and was like, red goes with green and that's it. It's because if you were to like, let's say, go outside and look at a green light and stare at that green light for like a really long time and then close your eyes, you're now going to see a red light in your eyes. It's fucking weird, isn't it?
Yeah. It's like that one shade of cyan that you can only see by staring at like a magenta dot on a computer screen, because computer screens cannot depict that specific tone.
Yeah, and it's like when I explain, how your primaries and your complementaries mixed together make brown, and they're like, well, how does that make any sense scientifically? Well, like if you have, let's say it's like wintertime, right? And you have like like a cobalt blue night sky, and then you see an orange like lamp outside, then what is the hue of the environment? It's like this like burnt sienna. Do you think that that's just makes sense just because? Not, man, if you mix the colors together, it's
no. It's just because. It's just because. There is no explanation. It just is.
There is.
What?
No, I know. I'm just being that guy.
It makes sense, Jason. You know this.
I know it does. I'm not debating that. I was just trying to be that guy.
You know me enough now, Jason. Like 2 drinks down, I'm like already spat out.
I can already start to hear that New England accent coming out.
No.
Kick his ass, Portier!
Listen, man, those fights were wild, okay? And just because I was the only one that was as hyped as ever, it's not my fault, okay?
Right.
I was hyped, and just because nobody else was either doesn't mean I need to calm my New England tone.
You're a trip.
Yeah, I try.
If I was raising a child and I taught the child color theory, and I it's the whole time that I explained it, I told them that red was actually yellow. and I just flipped them, what would that do?
I mean, like, you can teach anybody what colors are, whatever, but at the end of the day, it's all value. So it doesn't matter what you call it. You'd be like, that's blue over there, and it's really yellow. But at the end of the day, it's just a value.
Like if I looked out right now and I thought that, never mind. It just ends up being terminology, but I just
No, it makes sense. Like it does. Like I've said that many times.
What it comes down to is the
Like,
difference between what we label things and then what we perceive.
Yeah. Like we can explain colors theory. Like it's just colors the way that they are explained are just to help other people have conversations about color.
Like if you thought that my hair was actually yellow, like, oh yeah, her hair is yellow, would it look warm? Or would
No,
it
this color does not mean warm. That's just the definition we put towards it.
Well, and it's funny that you brought up yellow, because yellow was brought up in Jesse Smith's seminar.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. So yellow is one of those weird colors where, depending on where you are on the color wheel, or the color sphere, as he coined, depending on where you are on that color sphere, yellow can actually take on a cooler tone. So yellow is a funny color.
I mean, you can do that with any color though, Jason, really.
If I call
wrong.
it blue, does that mean that red is going to be cool all of a sudden?
Well, what shade of blue? Because teal can be considered blue, and that's a warmer blue.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean,
when we break it down,
when you break it down, it doesn't matter what you call each color.
Yeah.
What matters is, where does it end? Where does it land on that color sphere? Right?
I just think that if they were switched terminology, and I was trying to like listen to like you guys talk about them, I think that would totally mess with my head.
Well,
I think that this is just inherent in blue, whether regardless that's what you call it, right?
Well,
it would just
what
be a
is
really
blue?
Conversation for the.
But what is blue?
What do you mean? What is it?
Blue doesn't exist.
Blue exists.
What is it?
Exist.
You know what I'm saying? Like, blue is a label that we put on a specific wave of light that gets reflected off of specific surfaces with a very specific frequency.
Yeah.
Okay. That is the label that we have put on to that frequency of light that we see bouncing off of surfaces.
Okay.
Someone somewhere along the history of time said, this is what we're going to call this wavelength of light.
Yep.
Okay. I don't know how they came to that conclusion. I'm sure in some ancient Greek philosopher's text, they have an example of, so-and-so, back in, whatever year predating modern terminology came up with this concept. But at the end of the day, it's a label. We can affix any label to anything. I can call this is a frying pan.
That's a nice cup.
Okay, this is a frying pan. It's not a cup, it's a frying pan. Because that's what I'm calling this. Does it mean that it doesn't hold liquid? Actually, the magic bean juice that gives me life every morning.
I mean, technically, if you put water in a pan and drank it, is that now a cup?
Exactly. Right? Just because I eat cereal out of this doesn't mean it's a bowl.
Let me ask you this. Okay, I had a guy. There's a guy he was a really nice guy. He knew a lot about color theory, and he was looking at my book, and he said that I was using some painter's method, right? I started with an M. It was like musclin, or I can't remember what, but it was just about how I was using the white and all that stuff. He's like, it's so and so's. I was like, it can't be. I don't know who the hell that is. So isn't that technically? Like I got part of it from Nico Hurtado, right? Into his interviews and things like that, and combined with a watercolor book and what I know and have studied, like, is that still his method? Am I using this guy's method even though I've never heard of the guy?
You might have found a different path to get to the same conclusion, and to utilize the same method, but discovering it in your own way.
Yeah.
But
I
if
mean-
he was the first one that came up with that method, then yeah, technically that's his method.
But what if
I mean,
it's
it doesn't really matter though, really, because I use Marco Bucci's explanations of color theory all the time. It doesn't mean that like I don't know what color theory is. Doesn't really.
Well, color
matter.
theory is color theory, but if you're
Yeah.
using his same methodology to achieve the same result, then
Oh.
you
Which
would
is
be using that method.
me to tell somebody to tell me that I'm just like totally nailing some guy's method that I never freaking heard of? You know what I mean? Like,
I mean, I would look it up and I would
Oh.
see how similar it is. And
you did what John does, and you're like, who the hell is John?
yeah, I don't know, John. I've never met John.
That's method. His method. What happened?
No, but you know what? If I knew a last name or if I found out that it was tied to a specific theory, I would look that shit up.
And I would study the fuck out of it.
Yep.
No, I mean, he's supposed to talk to me. He's a really nice guy, but like, it threw me off. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
So I would say start looking up different methods of
But I don't have time.
well, find the time. There's 24 hours in a day.
You know, there isn't any.
There's always
Alright.
time. We always make the time in life for the things that we really want.
There's always a cup of coffee brewing.
Absolutely.
No, there's no time for me to research this guy I've never heard of. You know what I mean? Like, I'd like to know, but I don't have time right now. Maybe that's something for the future. Or maybe
How
Eco,
many
maybe
hours of sleep are you getting a night?
I don't know, 4 on a good night.
Okay. And how's your day divided? Like what's your schedule like?
Working and being unconscious.
Okay.
I'm really under a bunch of deadlines like right now. And how do you know which lead to chase? Do you know what I
Chase 'em
mean?
all.
But I can't chase them all. I can't go back and like study
Why not?
because I'm trying to build an application. But
Correct me if I'm wrong, but the more information you're given and the more
A lot of
information
what-
you know, the more
a lot of
applicable things become.
a lot of what we've been talking straight out of the gate from now is how do I know who to learn from?
Learn from everyone.
Yeah.
No, that's not what I mean. But you can't learn everything.
No, that means
Says who?
you don't learn everything. You learn what you want to learn, what's interesting to you, and it kind of comes.
Where's your
naturally.
focus? This
Yeah.
circles back to what we first started discussing. Where is your focus?
I'm aware. That's what I just said. We've been talking about this the whole time. But
My focus is on art and making better art and understanding colors better and understanding line better and understanding, painting and the media better, and understanding tattoos and executing tattoos to a point that it's methodical now, where I don't even think about what I'm doing. I
Right,
put in an
that's-
audiobook, listen to the audiobook, and I just
Like,
cruise.
if I'm a guitar player and I just run scales all day long, when I get up to play, it's going to sound very technical. But that's just the vibe. But I guess it's
But
so
the
hard.
whole point of
That's
running scales is
technical.
to understand those tones and to understand why those scales sound so good together, why those harmonies work well together. Because if you're playing an E minor chord, that's going to have a certain emotion attached to it. If you're playing a G chord, that's going to have a certain type of feeling or emotion attached to it, right?
I think we're having the same conversation.
Yeah. Yeah,
'Cause
but it doesn't have to be technical, because once you
goes back to
understand those
expression.
emotions, you can stick within those parameters and create. Now, music's not exactly a permanent thing, but
No. The wrong note.
it does still give you that same amount of expression.
Mhm.
It's still a one shot. It just doesn't stay on the person. Like there's still the pressure to hit. If you hit it wrong, it's still the pressure to do it perfectly in front of people like playing.
So now,
So
here's my
live.
question to you. Knowing that you played guitar for so long, you're playing live in front of 30,000 people.
Okay.
Okay. You mess up a chord.
Mm-hmm.
Do you stop?
No.
You just keep going, right? You pretend it didn't even happen. You pretend like it was meant to happen. Right?
Yeah. One of my first teachers said I fuck up a lot, but I look like I know what I'm doing.
There you go.
I think you've said
Apply
that
that to
me,
tattoos. There you go. There's your there is the ultimate situation.
Oh man, that's a good one.
You know, that is how I see 80% of tattooers in the world doing what they do. I'm not even kidding, because if you zoom in on anyone's work,
tattoos are handmade. They're handmade items. You can't expect them.
Exactly.
You cannot expect.
You know, so there's your confidence level. Pretend you're just playing guitar. Have that same confidence. Say a line's a little wonky in an area. Oh, all right. Come on back in. We'll smooth it out.
I'm not even like. I made like after, God, how long has it been? What year is it? 2021.
Yeah.
I did my first apprenticeship in April of 2014, I think. Is that right? I started art in 2011 now.
Okay.
It's been like 7 years. It's like three and a half is probably where I'm at as far as tattoo experience, maybe. But I've recently just completely changed the way I think about the way that I do it. Because I was like, just after 3 years, it just wasn't working for me anymore.
No.
So
when in doubt, change. But I would always say, stick with that middle of the road. Because as long as you stick with that middle of the road, you can't go wrong. That middle of the road is tried and true.
What if you feel like you've plateaued and there's no one around that can help you, and the videos
then
aren't
you need to focus on your art. And if you're in that situation where no one around you can help you, which is where I was for the past, like, I don't know. So I've been working there for 2 years. So
2014.
I want to say like 9 years. I was surrounded by people that they were comfortable. They were content.
Where
they didn't want to be better. They didn't strive to be better. They didn't want to progress.
I'll never get there.
Okay. So I took it upon myself to say, okay, well, it's time for a change. You know, I need to change. I need to grow. I need to better myself. And I need to bring this up to the level that I want it to be at.
But 2 years ago, I saved up for a year. I moved up to Port St. Lucie. The only person I knew was getting true value out of work. So I moved out to the middle of nowhere, learned about it, wrote a book. Now, I can't just keep moving. It's hard. I can learn anything and everything about tattooing except for technique through my freaking phone and stuff.
So travel for shows, travel for conventions, go get tattooed by a whole bunch of different people.
Would you recommend not getting tattooed by? I thought about going to like saving up and just getting a tattoo from someone that is doing what I want to do. But that's I mean,
that's been the most beneficial thing for me in my career. You know, I saved up the money. I flew out to London because I heard Clint Danroth was going to be tattooing at the London show. Okay. So I flew out there, booked an appointment with him. He gave me a price. I paid whatever he told me to pay, and I got tattooed by him. And I watched him and I asked him questions every single fucking time. Everything. Anything. Why are you using that black over every other black? Why are you using that brand of color over every other color? Why are you using those needles over every other type? Why that machine? Why this? Why that? You have them as a captive audience for as long as you're getting tattooed. Take advantage of that.
I've learned how to tattoo from so many different people, and it's always the fundamentals are the same, but it's different.
Yeah.
But it just doesn't. I don't know. Recently, we had to talk about machine speed and hand speed, because I kept dialing back my machine to what the shop was doing. Ever since I stopped doing that, it's so much better.
Because you are not them.
I know, but that's what I mean. So what if I move out? What if I come to Philly, right? And you're helping me with my lines, and like your technique is just completely different, even though it looks, do you know what I mean? It's because if we're so different, even if I'm trying to achieve what you're doing, I still am not going to be able to, because I can't use this ion. I can't.
But you have then at that point in time gained the knowledge that I have. That knowledge is now in your bag of tricks, right? That's it. That's a tool that's in your toolbox. You can now pull out that tool and use that tool if you find that that situation calls for it. And when I was tattooing Kier's hand, which I did in Gettysburg, I walked through 3 different techniques to line. Right? I wanted to give her those tools.
Everyone at the shop that I moved up, only shop I could find or that would hire me that was getting like real value. Okay, like really getting depth and like looking real and just in general just look better than anything anywhere I've ever worked kind of could do. But it was slow machines, super short stroke, almost cut back, kind of like a Joshua Carlton kind of feel with large mags and stuff. But it's too slow. Like I couldn't, or it's too slow, or it's just not, or it's like too heavy a hand speed. You know what I mean? Like I want to make that type of art, but I just can't do it the way, like my natural ability or my natural instincts in regard to tattooing and making art don't always adapt to the style I'm trying to do or the technique of the person that I'm trying to learn from.
So that's one thing that I took Mark Lescarbo's seminar up at the Paradise BYOB in the beginning of the month. Mark Lescarbo's been tattooing for I don't even know how long, right? He owns Needle Jig Tattoo Supply. Okay. Brilliant human being. Right. This guy has probably forgotten more about tattoos and tattooing than I've ever learned. Right. That's how long he's been doing it. And that's the amount of knowledge he's acquired. One of the things that he said in his seminar stuck with me. He said, the biggest variable that you have to overcome when you're tattooing is yourself.
Oh, for sure.
Right. Everything else is a constant. You need to adjust yourself to the machine. You need to adjust yourself to the technique. We as human beings are malleable. We can change.
What? Here's a question. If you want to go really, 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 really fast, what style should you do?
Why not take your time?
I do take my time, but I end up at the end of the sessions, I end up fast. And that's just discipline.
A lot of it's discipline. And
I'm curious what style you think traditional would be the fastest just because of coverage.
So I know people that will do traditional tattoos super quick and they're immaculate. I know people that do large scale illustrative work that can knock out an entire side panel in full color in 6 hours. I know guys that work in Japanese style that can knock out a full sleeve in full color in 12 hours. There are guys out there that can do incredible stuff very fast. The question is, what do you want to do and how efficient are you planning on being at doing it?
Right.
You know, obviously there are certain things that take a little bit more time.
Yeah, that's how about this question? A lot of the styles that I feel that I like are very, very slow, but I like to a little bit faster. And even when I use the slow ones, even if I use mnemonics, if I count, if I do anything, I always end up feel like I'm going too fast. And I end up trying to slow myself down. Do you think that I should try and keep fighting the urge, trying to slow down and fighting that? Or should I try and find a way or find a style that will keep me from having to do this constant fight against myself as far as speed?
If
so like
if you keep things consistent, if you're trying to work towards a goal and you keep things consistent, you will adapt to make that happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I had that issue too when I was lining. Like, I thought that I was fighting my hand to not go as fast as I wanted to. And then one of my coworkers that I work with at my studio, like, runs his machine at like a 14. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And he runs like the cleanest lines I've ever seen in my fucking life. And he's like, nah, man, you just right up, like, just like that. And so it all depends. It comes back to that all depends moment. And ever since I saw that he was running his machine at a fucking 14, I was like, okay, let's try this then. And it's like life changing. So you just have to listen to what your surrounding coworkers are saying and what they do and versus what you do, and
Give it a
figure out
go.
what's best.
Yeah. I mean, I know certain people that believe in the philosophy of whatever machine you're running, fucking run it as fast as you possibly can.
Yep.
Max it out. Run it at the maximum voltage every single time.
The realism shop, it was like everyone had their machines super, super slow. And they wouldn't go above like an 8 ever. It's like that was like
that's the way, that's what works for them. And it's so that they can build tones, they can build values so that they are flawless.
But like I'm in the back at a 9 or like, yeah, like trying to figure out why the hell. It's like, it's so.
Without knowing what machines they're running, it's kind of hard to say, but I will tell you this: if you're running a rotary machine and you run it slower, you're going to get more torque out of the motor, which means you're going to be able to really feel it a lot more. Does that mean that you have to slow yourself down more? Absolutely. But you get more torque out of it. You get more power out of it. I've pushed a 35 mag, solid color, using a 3.2 millimeter stroke machine.
You have footage?
Okay. It 3.2 millimeters, super slow, running it at the bare minimum voltage, and it'll push a 35 mag with color.
I get that, but
you know, you have to control yourself in order to achieve the product that you want to achieve.
But you just said that I will adapt.
You will. But you have to keep consistency. That's what I'm trying to get at.
Keep an open mind too.
Yeah. If you want to tattoo at that speed, with that speed of a machine to achieve that desired effect, then you need to run your machines that slow every time. You need to use the same things every time. You need to move your hands the same every time. You need to have the exact same amount of needle hang every time. You need to control all of the other variables and then force yourself to adapt to what that's doing.
Yeah. I agree. I'm going to scoot. I'm going to start getting on this painting and hopefully go live in a little while once I'm synced in, but it was wonderful hanging out.
Yeah, I'm actually going to sign off too. I got to get running.
Yeah.
Got a few other things I got to take care of today.
Okay.
Thank you guys both for jumping in. Who wants to go first for sign offs?
I'll go first because I gotta go. Okay. Hello everybody. My name is Kirsten Franklin and I am first year tattooer out of Western Massachusetts. I do the Thursday morning fundamentals and the Monday morning drawing groups. You can find me on Instagram at Frankie Says Things or on the Reinventing the Tattoo app at Frankie Tattoos Things. Yeah, you guys are the best. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. I'll see you guys tomorrow morning.
Much for jumping in. Thank you. Faith, I'll spotlight you. Go ahead, give us a quick sign off.
Faith Wynn. You can find me at my website. It's a free 6-module art education program in digital design. And I think, yeah, and we're also on YouTube and all that kind of stuff. So it's WYNNCOLOR, wincolor.com.
Awesome. Thank you very, very much. And I'm going to go through and I will spotlight myself. Let's see. Cool. So thank you everyone for jumping in and joining me today. My name is Jason Leeser. I run the Sunday afternoon drawing groups for Reinventing the Tattoo. You can find me on here every Sunday, as well as sometimes Mondays and Tuesday mornings. I like to jump into other drawing groups and stuff like that. Big thank you to Kier and Faith for jumping in today, and some really great conversations. Hope you guys have learned some stuff about this. And if you're liking the videos, if you like some of the information, remember to like and subscribe down below. And yeah, hopefully we'll see you next Sunday. Also, please keep in mind that Sunday, November 7th at 5 p.m. Eastern Time, I will be tattooing Chris Dunn from Deadly Tattoos. You may want to tune in for that. There's going to be a lot of great information there to be shared. So thank you guys very, very much. And yeah, have a wonderful